to go for the job Raila Odinga has. I want us to transition, and a lot has also been going on at the economic front, but also matters affecting the country. I told you earlier on that Kenya Kwanza is starting its retreat in Naivasha this morning. Honorable Ruku, I'll begin with you on this one. So talk to me about what the agenda would be, especially with two retreats, parliamentary group, but also the cabinet. You're taking stock. What?
Yes, it is 1 year down the Kenya Kwanza administration. And it is
more than 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year, 4 months since the time we were sworn in as members of parliament. 1 year, 4 months. And it is important to take stock on what has been happening. And it's a moment for MPs and the executive to talk to each other candidly on issues which probably we can't say out there in public, so that we may be able to align the government, and we normally say our government, in the most appropriate way, so that we can be able to serve Kenyans properly and meet the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza. Remember, this government was elected on a manifesto, and the promises which were made during campaigns, it is the members of Kenya Kwanza, that is the MPs and the executive, ministers and the permanent secretary, to ensure this is implemented and support the president and his initiatives, so that we can be able to see, we can be able to have a stock of 1 year, 4 months, and this being in February, so that we know how we are going to carry on for the next 11 months up to December this year. So I think it's a moment of putting the house in order. We have quite a number of bills in Parliament, government bills. We have housing, affordable housing bill. We have quite a number of regulations on social health regulations, which are going to put into effect the act which we passed before we went for Christmas on social health or universal health care. These regulations must be properly discussed. Public participation is needed. So there are quite a number of government bills which are in front of the House, including the National Administration bill.
So what does the parliamentary group meeting serve?
It is important to... It is very important in bringing together, reading from the same script, so that we can be able to be focused. You can see...
You sound like you're already, you're already reading from the same script.
All the time it's important to read from the same script. All the time. You can see what the nation is giving some funny end-line, which is not the truth. Okay, so we need.
Don't know about the media.
We need this kind of sitting to even to be sure that we are all together, we are all united in one front, and we raise all the concerns in an open and candid manner, because everybody is there, from the president all the way to all the PSs, all the members of parliament. I'm running there by 9:30. I'll be there. So. It's a question of ensuring we are united, we understand the vision of the government, we understand the vision of the president, we understand the bills which are in front of the House and the ones which are coming, so that we can ensure they are well crafted, our contribution is well taken into all the bills we have.
I hear you, Honorable Ruku, but you have not answered my question. I'll try some other time. Let's hear what the president said alongside Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah about a bill that is already before the House.
Naambia hawa bunge, sasa sheria ile iko bunge ambaye ni ya housing, ile kotini ilisema tupitishe. Tunataka by Tuesday iwe imekamilika. Vijana ni wengi wanataka kwenda kufanya kazi. Si vijana mko? Si mnataka kazi? Si huyu jamaa apitishe hiyo sheria asubuhi? Mnampatia amri apitishe asubuhi na mapema na awache maswali mingi, ama namna gani?
Rais, nataka nikuahidi vile tulisema, ile mpango ya housing yenye umeanzisha hapa Nyeri, hiyo mpango kwa bunge, siku ikifika ya Tuesday next week, tutahakikisha ile affordable housing bill yenye iko kwa bunge tutapitisha ili tukupee sheria mpya ambayo itakusaidia kukusanya pesa ya kuendelea kuleta ajira kwa hawa vijana.
So, mnapitisha kesho?
Well, tomorrow is
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday and second reading. There was first reading. Of course, second and third reading, the committee of the full house, where all the articles are scrutinized and all the members of parliament are around to come up with amendments to support.
So all that is happening
sponsor. Tomorrow? No. It happened during the third reading of the bill, or what you call the committee of the full house, where each and every member of parliament has an opportunity to sponsor an amendment of any article of the bill which he feels should be amended. So, and this is both sides of the house, whether in minority or...
I understand the process. So it's not practical to happen tomorrow?
No, it's not going to happen tomorrow.
So why that...
And of course, this bill has to go to...
Why that promise? Okay, sorry, you're not Kimani Shoma. But Honorable Elachi, talk to me about... of course, the retreat, but also there appears to have been a lot of campaign during recess. The president expressing himself on what he desires to happen. How do we make sure that, yes, a political party or a coalition can speak within itself, but at the same time you don't lose that very important role of parliament when it comes to lawmaking?
Well, first of all, I think we started debating the bill this week that has just ended. We closed on Thursday without finalizing. So tomorrow, I think, we'll proceed and maybe finalize and bring it to committee of whole so that the amendments that people feel. I think the most important thing, for me, if Parliament, we can follow what our technical team advised. And I remember I saw the issues they have raised. They've raised, if we can be able to answer those questions the technical team on the budget office gave us, then you'll be answering to what the courts have requested to get to know. So I'm hoping we can do that because the best, for me, I will not question in the rallies. You can continue, but always remember to safeguard the House, that the House has to follow its procedure until you come to the right thing so that we don't also end up again in the same way we have ended up in courts. And so if we can't answer those questions again also, we shall have issues. So why are we in a state of wanting not to just follow what the courts have said? And I think that is the most, that is the bone of contention where people are, we are questioning, I am questioning, just follow the 7 issues that the courts raised and let us answer each of those questions in a manner that will fulfill.
You don't feel they've been answered in the bill?
No. The bill was already there when we were going on recess. And the case came after. So that is why we have to bring in those amendments. So that they work. So it's not in the bill. We tabled the first reading when we were going to recess. So there's no way any of those things...
No, but Lachi, the judgment came out on 27th of November.
Yes.
And the bill was published on 4th...
of December.
Of December. I think it
yes,
was
yeah, we were going on recess.
December.
So you can't tell me you incorporated at that time. No. Because I know even you had not gotten now the full judgment. Let's be very honest and read it. And that's why when we were on recess, the team in Parliament read, and those were the questions they said. These are the issues we must answer for us to have a good bill that can proceed if we want to have affordable housing. So I believe we can follow that process without having any fights and go through the right channel. And those who believe in it will vote. For us who don't believe in it, will also vote. And we move. And not that we don't believe in it, everyone,
but
both
there's
manifestos.
A chance of amendments.
Yes. That's why I'm saying we agree on those amendments. Nobody will have an issue. Okay. Because in both manifestos, the issue of affordable housing was there. Nobody has. In terms of the principle, everyone agrees there is need. But in terms of implementation, I think that is where everyone took their own... And you imagine, me, I always say, if you're a good house, And that's why sometimes I respect Duale. Because in times when I was the majority whip, those days in Senate, and Duale, our majority whip, when things are, he feels this is going to just bring a chaos, he will sit down with the whole team and agree what is contentious here that we can't agree or disagree. They will come up, Buddy will come up, and they'll put it on the table and realign and make sure it works.
You think that is not happening?
How I wish they can do that, these two leaders.
It's not happening?
No. No. Everyone just goes and you muzzle. You can't. This is a house where we are also an arm of government that can think of our own and see what is best also for the country. No one is superior with knowledge than the other. And we are not homogeneous, Sam. All I'm saying, why can't we sometimes, just the same way judiciary sits and says, this time we are not agreeing with parliament and we are not agreeing with the executive, but we are agreeing for the benefit of the country. They do something. Can parliament try for once, just say, and you don't do it without, the leader has to tell the principal, the president, that look, we can feel if we go this route, it will work better and we will not have all this harmony we are having, but achieve the same goal. It cannot work. Because for me, the worst I would say today, and I'm sorry to say, is that sometimes it's always good to hear from many people. They might not give you the right advice, but a good listener will pick a few things and say, okay, I'll go on this route.
Okay. Honorable Sosion, I want us to listen first to a conversation that has been going on, frustrations amongst the county governors, resources allocation, but also functions that they feel the national government is still encroaching. Watch this.
Ndio tunafanya hapa Murang'a. Tunategemea pesa zako zinatoka Nairobi, eh? Na kwa miezi 2 hazijaingia.
So unajua last week nilikuwa nalipa ile deni kubwa waliwachiwa na watu wa handshake. Sasa nimelipa hiyo last week, si namna hiyo? Na nilikwambia kwanza nilipe watoto waende shule alafu nikupange. Kidogo wananiambia pesa yao ya akaunti imechelewa. Lakini nimewaambia wacha nicheleweshe yenu kidogo, kwanza nihakikisha watoto wote wa Kenya wako shuleni. Hii Januari nimeweka bilioni 61 katika masomo ya watoto. Wale wa primary tumepatiana capitation. Wale wa JSS tumepatiana capitation. Secondary hivyo. TVET namna hiyo. University namna hiyo.
Okay, so the president is explaining some of the challenges in cash flow management that the administration has had, and he says that the county funds were delayed because he had interests or loans to service and to pay. He says that specifically Eurobond. Honorable Sosion, as Kenya Kwanza goes on retreat, what do you think they also need to think about? Because apart from the bills that are pending in Parliament, there are also some of these concerns that the counties are raising, the county governors are raising, and they are biting because in the end, it is about the service to the people.
Yeah, thank you. I think, one, the retreat of the executive and the legislature of the ruling coalition is critical and is important. For in organized democracies, political organizing is key to ensure that service delivery to the citizens is guaranteed, and not just service, quality services. And this is all about strengthening leadership and ensuring that service is delivered. So the president convening the cabinet and the wing of the coalition in the legislature is important, so that then even the issues you are raising about counties, about the remittances of funds to different entities, that can be an understanding of all parties. Kenya Kwanza manifesto is critical. It has 5 pillars. And those pillars, it's not very easy to deliver. It requires various pieces of legislation, various policies, various regulations. And of course, we've talked about agriculture. Olekina here can still, Ledama here can still debate, but it's a route that we must take and deliver and extricate farmers and improve agriculture in the country. The micro, small enterprise, the ICT sector, particularly with opening up jobs for the youth and expanding that space. It is a means of driving the economy. We are on the threshold of the fourth industrial revolution that really will require the growth of the ICT infrastructure. Then now comes the two issues, housing and health. And of course, you're talking about funding of counties. Housing and health, these are major undertakings within the entities of the counties. And the pieces of legislation to strengthen, to answer to the questions that were raised by the court shall be addressed by the housing bill, which we hope it will be signed into law as soon as possible. So that, this key pillar...
It does not address some of those concerns.
It does address. This is a debatable issue. We can all have different opinions.
How does it address?
And our opinions can be as varied as we think. The bill is in Parliament. And that bill is in Parliament. If there are issues, of course, the 7 questions she's talking about, they have an opportunity to deal with that in the
House.
Committee of the Whole.
I have said.
Yes. You can file the amendments if you so wish. It's a democratic process. It's open. Yeah. So that bill is key, and also the adoption of regulations of the entire health sector, so that the universal health coverage can be rolled out. You know, Sammy, it will be a big leap for this country to ensure that every citizen is treated. All our dispensaries have medicine and personnel, and the critical illnesses that have never been covered and paid for in this country, like cancer, and can be treated. So the UHC, the bills, the rollout of the universal health coverage as per the pillar of Kenya Kwanza administration is going to be a big win for this country. And therefore, the president meeting all these different groups is to strengthen governance and ensure that all this is delivered. It's not for the glory of the party, but it's for the good of the nation. If we have an effective and working universal health coverage that's agreeable to all of us, that Kenyans can be treated well without spending any money in any facility in our public institutions. And for the counties, the president has explained the prioritization in disbursement of money, and is very keen. He is very clear that at the beginning of the year, he had to ensure that 60 billion is dispersed for all our learning institutions, which, of course, indeed is critical, and asking the counties to hold on a bit for the remittances of their funding, I don't think is a bad request from the president, considering
but that was not
considering the hard fiscal space that we have in this country. And we have seen the stabilization of the shilling, the Eurobond, the Eurobond program that has been put in place, and therefore, and the promise of stabilizing the economy. It is not an event. Fixing the economy is not an event.
Parliament,
it is a process.
Look, Parliament votes on resources to be sent to the counties and the money to be sent to the national government for running of its operations or programs. It does not talk about excuses that because some government functions were more important and urgent, we delay the disbursement of funds to the counties. This explanation actually is coming after the fact.
Sami, all of us are not new in Kenya. We are in Kenya, and we know this country has been facing a very serious financial distress, and of course you talk of the debt distress that we've had in this country, which the president has worked out to extricate the country. Almost all the money, 80%, a huge percentage, goes into payment of debts, and we must pay debts. And in that space of competing for the little revenue that is collected to pay debts and deliver services, you will have to prioritize. Those of us who have run organizations
you don't find a problem because
and institutions.
The national government, the operations have been running, including traveling to different parts of the country and different parts of the world. You don't see a problem in that?
Sam, the president has explained prioritization in terms of disbursement of funds. And to me, that's okay. And the president has not said the money to the counties will not be dispersed.
Mheshimiwa Sosion,
Yes.
do you know there's a law? I mean, Senate passes a schedule of disbursement of funds, and every 15th of every month, resources have to be sent. When the government or the National Treasury does not honor that, what should happen?
If it doesn't honor for sufficient reasons.
Which reasons? They are never explained.
Let me tell you, Sammy, and
Can I just
pretend.
help?
If almost all the revenue is used to service debts, you cannot borrow again to wire money to the counties. You cannot borrow to wire money to schools. Everything is based on the revenue collection
how much was
in
used
the country.
to service debt?
Oh, of course, I don't come from Treasury, but we know.
But you're explaining, I mean,
yes, but
if that explanation doesn't come, how do Kenyans and everyone else hold the government to account?
Sammy, the country, when Kenya Kwanza took over, had a debt of 9.2 trillion shillings. Some of the loans matured, and even Eurobond is yet to mature. And as they mature, you must pay. And those are the measures that the Treasury has been engaged in.
So the president or the government has paid Eurobond with the revenue?
Do you want me to tell you that I don't sit in the Treasury
that's
and
what you're
whatever?
explaining. You're saying that it's maturing. Just hold on. You're saying it's maturing.
The debts that they've matured and the debts owed to the country must be serviced. The president has said. That is not news. Everyone
The interest
knows.
was paid in December. The next interest is being paid in June for the Eurobond you're speaking about.
Yes, even if it's being paid in June, there are debts up to which was inherited at 9.2 trillion. It has gone up. And if there are loans to be repaid, they must be repaid. And that is affecting the fiscal space.
All right.
Those are facts.
Honorable
And we don't need to argue about it.
It is
Sam.
not a fact. You're wrong on the figure.
Yeah.
It's not 9.2 trillion.
I may be wrong on the figures, but
8.7 trillion.
right on the facts. Yes.
What is that?
Debts must be paid.
Senator Olekina, talk to me about this and what Kenya Kwanza should be thinking about in the retreat.
First of all, there are a couple of things, and I want to be very fair to my brother Sosian, because it saddens me to see a former legislator really come in and just fumbles on national television without any understanding of the law. Article 219 of the Constitution is quite clear. A share of county revenue shall be dispersed to the counties without undue delay or deductions. That is what the Act says. Number two, when the president stood there and told Governor of is it Kiambu? Murang'a, my former colleague, Kang'ata Wabarua, that he has to wait a little bit, the president was taking on a task that doesn't belong to him. It is not for the president. You know, the president lies to the country that he is the owner of money. He's not. In Parliament, we divide money between the national government and the county government. And the law is there, Article 219. So by standing there in front of the public and making a fool of himself and saying that, you know, I'm going to hold on first before I release money to the counties, I'm going to pay to send the kids to school. That is really clogging back on devolution. That's number one. And doing something which he doesn't have the power to. And that's what Kenyans ought to understand, that even though William Ruto is the president of Kenya, he does not have all the powers. The power of the past belongs to Parliament. And Article 219 is quite clear. You know, when we divide revenue between the two arms of government, we're very clear. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, you asked about what Kenya Kwanza should be focusing on. What I wish that they would be able to discuss is to enlighten their legislators to be able to understand all the bills. First of all, the bill they are going to be discussing, hopefully, I hope they will be able to discuss it because I saw the president intimating in, on affordable housing, that bill already violates a court order which was issued back in 2020 by 3 judges. I think there was Janice Nyaga, Anthony Ndongo, Kimani, and Teresia Mumbara, in terms of understanding Article 110.3 of seeking concurrence between the 2 houses of parliament. That bill, the Affordable House Bill, has been introduced to the National Assembly without concurrence being sought from the Senate. And that is a violation. So why are we continuing to dig ourselves into greater holes, some, if I may ask? The second bill, and I'm happy that my brother Sosion talked about, healthcare. There's a bill, and which we discussed here before, Affordable of Care Bill. Recently, there was stakeholding without stakeholders. How do you do that? Nowadays, the central government, the national government writes the bills, bring them to parliament, rush them, and we are just supposed to rubber stamp. It is wrong. How do we do that? We are still reminded of all the dangers of passing legislation and rubber stamping policies without really scrutinizing them. We are still paying for the EMS medical equipment scheme scandal, where equipment was sent all over, including my own county of Narok. Like I said earlier on, I was in Emurwedikir. And in Emurwedikir, there's a radiology department. That radiology department requires 3-phase electricity. That 3-phase electricity has never been sent to Emurwedikir. If you go there, you'll be shocked. There are so many people queuing in an old dilapidated building, yet there's a new hospital which was built by the former governor, a radiology department, but just taking 3-phase electricity to that place, they can't do it. In fact, that is my first priority this week in Parliament, to make sure that the people of Emurwedikir has gotten that electricity. The schools have got no electricity in the entire place. So these are some of the things that they need to go there and talk, not to rubber stamp, not to rush in. I think it's important. And I'm hoping that this time around in the Senate, both legislators from the Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio side will look at the law. This issue of Article 110.3 was brought in by the Senate back in 2020.
But can it be cured at this point?
Can I just finish? Say?
Can it be cured at this point?
It has to be cured. It has to be cured. That bill, if you are to ask me, the only way to cure that bill is to withdraw that bill, seek concurrence from both houses. Once you seek concurrence, reintroduce the bill, then go through the due process of the law. Because what will happen, and I'll tell you.
Because it's the second reading, it's not possible once they are done with it to bring it to the Senate.
To seek concurrence? No, you have to seek concurrence. Have you read Article 110.3?
Yes, I've read it.
Okay, what does it say?
It's about...
It says, it is very clear, I'll read it to you. It actually says that before any House of Parliament deliberate on a bill, before either house consider a bill, the speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate shall jointly resolve any questions as to whether it is a bill concerning counties, and if it is, whether it is a special or an ordinary bill. Now, housing is affecting counties. All county governments were asked to donate land to build affordable housing. Shouldn't that bill be, first of all, the concurrence should not be sought in the Senate, yet it is affecting counties?
No, I get that. What I'm asking is because that has not happened.
Then it has already violated Article 110.3. So the only legal way
to walk back.
The only legal way is to walk back. Withdraw the bill, go sit down, seek concurrence, and since you're always fast-tracking everything, follow the due process of the law. Because what will happen is this. I heard the president saying that the court has said, we put this bill there. We passed the law. We are doing it. But you're doing it wrong.
Okay. Honorable Ruku, what will you do, especially on that particular question? In 20 seconds, please.
The 2 speakers are working very well. Speaker Moses Wetangula and Speaker Kingi are working very well. And I don't think what Senator is saying is true.
Oh, come off. I sit in the House Business Committee. It's a statement of fact.
No, it's okay.
Senator, I don't think that is true. So these are two speakers. These are two speakers who are working very well. There is no
working well
bad.
is fine.
There's no bad blood between the two speakers.
Let us be clear on concurrence. It actually is.
And by the way, it doesn't mean that the legal team within the National Assembly and the Senate are not aware about the provision of the Constitution.
We're talking about
so it's not true. It is not true that there is no concurrence. It's not true that there is no concurrence. Having said that, Sam, I also want to say.
Honorable Ruku, no, not so fast. Let me ask you this:
give me a letter from the Speaker of the Senate. Saying that he's not in concurrence with the affordable housing bill, which is going on at the moment in the National Assembly.
This is important.
No. It's not true.
Wait, have you read the bill?
Yes.
Have you read on the statement on whether it concerns counties?
Of course, it concerns counties.
No. Have you read the statement?
No, I like what he just said.
The statement in the bill on whether it concerns counties. Have you read it?
Sam, listen. The bill concerns counties, and what I'm saying is,
have you read the bill?
Yes, I have.
On that provision, the question of whether it concerns counties, have you read it?
But I'm saying this.
It says this bill does not concern counties.
No, the bill concerns counties.
I'm telling you what it says.
Now, let me put...
And if there's a statement, if there's an article or a statement or an object of which it can be amended at the committee of the whole House.
It can't.
It can be amended at that stage. Okay? But what I want to underline is that two speakers are working in tandem, are working very well. There's no issues of disagreement. There's no issues of disagreement.
Do you know if they have made a decision on concurrence?
The other thing I want to say, which I don't want this to escape without some response.
If the two speakers who are working very well have made a decision on concurrence?
Say it again.
Is it required?
Do you know?
Is it required? The law is there.
Very well have made a decision on concurrence.
What I know, Sam, is that the two speakers are working well, and they have legal teams. They have legal teams, which they work together very well.
Sam.
And it is not true what Senator is saying.
I have a right to reply.
Having said that,
it doesn't matter whether you have time or not.
Let me say this.
I have a right to reply, Sam.
It is important.
Let me say this, Sam.
Sorry.
That the end of government and end of state is the president. The government is three arms: the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive. So it's not right for Senator to say that the president cannot say, this is what we have. Is the end of government. And the government entails judiciary, executive, and...
Are you saying he's also the head of judiciary?
What's the government?
Listen to me, Sam, because I just have to end in 20 seconds.
Okay. Government has three hands, and the president is the head of government and state.
No. In 20 seconds, Sam, 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
I think it is wrong for my brother to, put statements and argue that they're statement of facts when they're not. I sit in the House Business Committee. I go through every bill that comes to the House before it's even introduced to the House. My sister, I think when she was a majority whip, did the same thing. There are 29 bills that the National Assembly has not sought concurrence. I never said Speaker Kingi and Speaker Wetangula are not working together. That's not what I said. I said there's a difference between two individuals working together, and there's a difference between two processes of parliament. The affordable housing bill, that is a statement of fact, and I'm ready to defend that. My brother cannot defend it because he doesn't have it. He's only saying that to defend the Kenya Kwanza administration. Is that the affordable housing bill has been introduced to the National Assembly without concurrence from the Senate, which is in violation of Article 110(3) of the Constitution. That is issue number. And the only way to cure that, to stop a whole big legal battle, is for that bill to be withdrawn. Once it has been withdrawn, concurrence is sought. They can fast track it the way they want. However, if they proceed the way they want right now, it will end up in court.
All right.
Honorable
Lachi, 20 seconds, please.
Yes, and I want the record should be this. the Speaker of the National Assembly, every member questioned that. And he sorted and gave a statement, and he agreed that this bill concerns counties and we must rethink. So he threw it back to the House for it to rethink because he knew it was also wrong.
Right.
It concerns counties, health concerns counties. That's why I said, let us not make it so much very political. Let us think what the the Court of Appeal told us, and let us follow what the courts have said we must do, and do it right before either another senator or anyone goes back to court with the same issue.
All right, now there's something I wanted us to listen to as we get out because you don't have time to debate it, and this is what the former president said over the weekend.
Wakati nilikuwa kwa uongozi nilikuwa naambia watu kitu kimoja. Kama wewe ni kiongozi, kama wewe ndio umepatiwa steering wheel ya kuendesha, kama ni county ya Nyandarua, kama ni constituency hii, kama ni nchi ya Kenya, pale popote, kama wewe ni kiongozi wa maana. Kiongozi wa maana anashika steering wheel, anaangalia mbele. Sio kila saa kuangalia rear view ati ametoka wapi. Unaangalia mbele. Ukiwa mtu wa kuendesha ukiangalia rear view mirror, wewe ni mtu wa kupeleka gari katika leo ni akuingia mtaro. Wako ni mwana utokoria bururi. Rora imbere mumenye kuria muratwara. Omwatira na jungu na ige na mahuti matari kuria mali. Hakuna pahali mnaenda. Hakuna pahali mnapeleka nchi. Nchi inataka viongozi ambao wako na maono ya mbele. Kwa sababu hiyo ndio itakuwa ya manufaa kutatua shida zile wa Kenya wako nazo.
Okay, now, I wish we had more time to talk about that, but Uhuru Kenyan saying on X at Citizen TV Kenya, Sam Gituku, the hashtag to use is daybreak. And Okilo Mwalimu, it's my hope that amongst the 10 days of Kenya Kwanza retreat, there will be a bold lawyer who will remind the MPs that their cardinal role is to oversight the executive, that their role doesn't include cheerleading.
My brother will be told.
When the president is giving false promises or breaking the law. Maganga Mustafa is saying that housing bill shouldn't be rushed. It might turn out into another thing in the next regime, hence affecting the people who will have bought or subscribed to its payments model, the same way Kitale Prison Land 1986 program is ending. Engineer Lazaro, for democracy to be given space, Kenya Kwanza regime should listen to dissenting voices. You can't prosper by listening to only people clapping for you. Opposition is very crucial in getting public opinions. Chalawad Rosie, the president should not dictate the parliament on how it runs its business. The executive controlling other arms of government is not good for the well-being of the country. Housing levy is unconstitutional and will always remain unconstitutional. Wow. Okay, Musau, you're saying that the fact that no Kenya Kwanza MP except Omoshomba will see nothing wrong with the bill, and no Azimio MP except the guys who went to State House will see anything good with the bills, makes you realize that Kenyans are on their own. Okay.
But Sam, just to
no, we don't have time for that, Honorable Elachi. Thank you so much for coming.
Kibra people paid money on the first affordable housing. They don't know where that money is up to today. I would wish government to go there and look at those people of Canaan. They paid the way people are paying, and they were never given the houses.
And we don't need affordable housing.
All right. Mheshimiwa Wilson Sossion, Honorable Beatrice Elachi, Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, and Senator Leda Molekina, thank you so much for making time for us of this conversation. Up next is Sporty Monday. They'll be here to talk about different actions on the pitches. And my name is Sam Gituku. See you again some other time. Bye for now.